Hey there, you polite bards and bardettes. Welcome back to I Cast Vicious Mockery. I'm Austin.
I'm Matt.
And Matt, what you got in your hand there today, huh? What are we holding?
Got a little,
Yeah, I got some of that too. Some of that coffee.
yeah.
Basket would, she was going to town on these things. You don't want to hear that through compressed microphone audio. That would, that would set some people off real bad. She's cute and everything, but like,
Yeah.
it does, like, first of all, you can't see her because she's small. But second of all, those sounds are never cute. Not coming out of anything.
Gnawing on a bone is
No.
It's not cute.
No.
No.
No, it sounds unpleasant at best. It's rough. Yeah. And through like, oh. Yeah, you don't want to hear that. But tell me about your coffee. What kind of thing we got going on there, huh?
Okay, first of all, I get it. I'm a hypocrite. Fine.
Right.
Because I don't like coffee.
Yeah.
I really don't. I
Mhm.
swear, but
But like you always have coffee.
I was out and about this morning. I had to run an errand for somebody this morning, and I didn't have time to make breakfast like I usually do, and I was already in my car. And Basket, what are you doing? Basket is having a rough time today.
Yeah. She's a little moody. Well, she wants to play, I guess. So.
Yeah, she's in the mood.
There might be some tug of war going on while we're...
That's fine. While we record, that's okay. Oh, that's fun. That's probably fun for the audience to watch your arm wiggling around.
Yeah.
Like that.
They'll just be like, what? Yeah, no, it's this. Let me see if I can get it. Oh. Come on. Hold it.
Oh, so close.
Yeah.
Well, so I needed some caffeine this morning. I couldn't handle it, so I went through a drive-through.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you about that, though. You see, I don't get coffee very often.
Yeah.
So I'm sure almost everybody watching this has had this experience before, but this is just bafflingly hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I ordered an iced vanilla latte.
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
It sounds like it should have ice in it, but I don't know what a latte is either. I'm going to just come clean.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, I've had one before. They're good. I like them because they're mostly sugar. I don't like the coffee part, but the sugar part's good. That's how I feel anyway. The guy told me, he was all apologetic too. He was like, oh man, sorry, our latte machine is broken. Would you like an iced vanilla coffee instead?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Sounds like the same thing to me.
Yeah.
I don't really know the difference. So
if it's not sugary enough, you put more in it.
Exactly.
Cool.
So he was like, cream and sugar? I was like, yeah, 2 creams, 2 sugars. He was like,
good plan. Excellently handled, coffee guy.
Yeah, I felt good about it.
Right.
I was like not even mad, right? First of all, anybody watching this already knows this is not iced. Unless they ran out of ice cups.
Okay. What would an ice cup look like?
Clear plastic.
Oh, okay.
Ice in it.
Yeah, that one's not ice.
This is not ice, yeah. Hot. That's the first word on it. Hot.
Oh.
Coffee.
Okay.
But so far so good. Large. I ordered a medium. Sure, they gave me a bigger one. Whatever.
Nice.
Original blend. Sure.
Yep.
3 creams. No sugar.
So close.
Yeah, not what I wanted. Also, outlier.
Yeah.
Half dark roast.
What is that? What?
I know. Why? I don't get it. I ordered an iced vanilla coffee.
Right.
Medium.
Right.
They gave me a large original blend.
But how did they put dark roast in it, though? How did they do that?
Half of it was dark roast. I don't know what to tell you. It's gone now, though. This is empty. I'm going to put this down.
Oh, okay.
Put this down.
Goodbye, coffee cup.
It's back. Okay.
We'll miss you.
But it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where, how do you mess up that bad? You know, I should have known right away when they handed it to me because it wasn't clearly.
It was probably warm.
Yeah, it wasn't iced. But I was a little distracted because I paid with cash and, you know, my change got dropped on the ground and like I had to like open the car door and pick it up. And That wasn't like his fault. Like that was like, oh, Butterfingers, it fell on the floor, so I wasn't thinking about it. And I don't like to be that guy who's like, this isn't what I ordered, even though that's totally fine to do.
Yeah.
I still don't like to for
Right.
some reason. And
it's almost like
Yeah.
if it's acceptable still, you just like shut up and take it. Because they're already like working a lot and like whatever.
yeah, you don't want to like and like
I get how
especially
that feels. Yeah.
like, I got the sense that this guy was kind of new too, and I didn't want to put all that extra stress on him,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. But I will say the breakfast sandwich that I ordered was exactly what I ordered.
Right.
The only thing that was completely not anything like what I ordered was the drink.
Yeah.
So that's how this morning is going. Basket, what's up? Do you want me to like
Basket, do you want to talk about table etiquette? Come on up here, dude.
Come here. You need some table.
What are we thinking about table etiquette, Basket? Well, she's out of ideas. You got any?
Yeah, so table etiquette to me, Table etiquette to me is like how you act at the table when playing Dungeons and Dragons, because there's some things that might not be obvious to people who are new playing.
Like one thing I found out was that you need to have pants on.
Like depends.
Yeah, well, I mean like there are certain like just after you go to the bathroom, it's good to bring your pants back out with you. Yeah. And like not leave them in there. You do that, right?
Take my pants off
all the way off, yeah. Every time you like I've just always done it that way. I didn't ever question it. Now I'm wondering because of the way that you're laughing that might not be normal. I don't know. I just always think it's like you ever walk into a public restroom and like everybody's keeping their pants on? Yeah. How weird is that? It's so weird. Like at the urinal, Like they really though, I understand it kind of right now. Oh, because the pandemic stuff, you don't want to take off your shoes. Exactly. Right? Because everyone's like bare feet on the germs. Yeah, no, that's not a good plan. That's how you get COVID. Right. So you got to keep the shoes on. Sometimes the pants don't fit over them because you're wearing those skinny jeans or whatever. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You just came from the hot topic. Okay, I'm sorry to have done that. let's move on. What do you? Okay, so yeah, pants. Those are not optional at the D&D what else table. Have we got? Unless you're doing a Discord thing, and I don't know, nobody will see it. Yeah, I've sometimes worn shorts, but yeah, it's fine. But okay, so yeah, they're just certain things that you should and shouldn't do. And there probably, honestly, there might be fewer things for players than for dungeon masters. Okay. So, first of all, I guess the first thing I'm thinking of is you absolutely have to, before you start a campaign, go around and have a discussion with all the players about what kinds of things they're okay with and what kinds of things they're not okay with. Yes, this is true. So like, because you don't want those kinds of subjects to come up in the campaign with, and somebody is just not okay with it, right? And it's also really good if you get a chance to talk about that with each player individually, because sometimes sometimes if somebody expresses an opinion one way, it'll influence what another person will say. So basically, like you're already inviting the chance to create a conflict there if you just have everyone go all at once. Whereas if you talked about it with each person individually beforehand, like I think you did with our current campaign, or at least you talked with me individually. I don't know if it was everybody, but yeah. It could have been different. It doesn't matter right now, but yeah. Anyway, so it's a good thing to do that, because then you, like, as the DM, you can be like, all right, so here are some things I'm hearing that we should probably avoid. Here are some topics to avoid in the campaign. And here are some things that I'm hearing some people are excited for and that we really want to get into this campaign. Like maybe somebody expressed interest in like espionage type things, and that's not something that everybody always gets in every campaign. Let's be honest, right? Like usually,
Yeah.
usually there's some battles, some fighting. We got some buying stuff from shops, and that's enough for a campaign. Actually, you can run a whole thing like that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
if there are certain things that people really want or certain things that people really, really do not want, then it's good to bring them all up at the beginning.
And I think that was really important for Cataclysmic Rift.
Right.
Because it's supposed to be like a horror campaign. And that can get kind of sticky sometimes.
Now, when we're talking horror, are we talking like Stephen King Dark Tower, which I haven't read it either or watched the movie, but it's like kind of a horror adventure deal? Or are we talking horror like Junji Ito, like Uzumaki, where like there's just some bad stuff happening and there's nothing anybody can do about it? And like the whole world is worse than anyone thought.
Yeah, yes. So it's sort of like, I don't condone the guy or anything like that, because he had some weird, he had some issues, but H.P. Lovecraft is kind of what I was thinking. Even though I've never cheese basket. I've never
she's playing catch with herself now.
Yeah, she's having her own fun at the moment. You're gonna hear some strange noises maybe. I've never read H.P. Lovecraft.
No,
but
neither.
I think I might have been inspired by some of the things that were inspired by him.
Yeah, I think sort of the idea there is like there are horrible things that are beyond human comprehension.
Yes, exactly. So that was one thing. But I'm a big fan. Like, I'm not a big fan of horror that's like, I hate like horror movies because those are mostly like tension and then orchestral sting jump scare, right?
Right.
I don't like that. I hate that stuff because I'm jumpy. What I like is more like intense psychological horror.
Right.
Like terrible, like this person's mind has been broken by the terrible things they've seen kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I was going for with the campaign. But it's a sticky thing, man, because I want to do that, but at the same time, since then, some of the players have said that they don't like that and they don't want that. But that's what I wanted. That's what the basket.
What are you doing?
That's what I wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where the line is drawn there, but like, do I just do it anyway, or?
That one's a tougher one because really the DM doesn't have that much say in how the story progresses. They do have a lot of say on how the world is structured.
Yeah.
So you could just have a world that is like that, but the players could be like, "Nope, we're out of there. We're gonna go do something else," and then you wouldn't really have too much of a choice, but to let them go and do that, I guess, right? Like, or something along those lines. Yeah, that is a tough situation, especially like, I don't know. I guess it depends on the group of players too, but yeah, it's good to know what kind of adventure they expect or what kind of story they expect.
Right.
And maybe that's something that could have been set up even better for our campaign. Because we definitely talked about the stuff that we don't want to see, or like we just don't think we should be talking about in this campaign right now. And the stuff that would keep everybody comfortable and ready to come back and play more, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I think we nailed that.
There was really only one thing that was brought up by all like half of the party.
Yeah,
half of the players.
Yeah, and so and really, it's easy to avoid the things that make people uncomfortable for the most part, unless you've got a player who really wants, which is I guess why we would do this. If you have a
Mhm.
player who really wants that thing,
Yeah,
um,
and there was
and then
one.
other. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there was one person who was like, a lot of people said they didn't want this, but I think that that's like for the, for the subject matter, one of the best things, that could
Hmm.
really make like the theming and everything, work really well.
Eh.
But
Yeah, I could. I guess I could see for that. Oh no 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 no, dog. She's trying to turn off our recording now
yeah, Basket's
because she needs that much attention.
yeah, she's trying to stop us from our podcasting because it's basket time.
Yeah, just like usual.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, so yeah, I guess yeah, the tough part about it is that each player has more say over their actions than the DM does of what will happen to their character, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, there are certain things that um some people would like if it happened to their character, they would be upset by it rather than being like, all right, so how does this person react? They'd be like, what are you doing to my character? I think that's the way that it goes a lot in D&D. I'm not saying in this campaign,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm saying like just in general, like that's kind of how people would feel. They'd be like, why are you doing this to my character and me, possibly by extension?
Yes. Yeah, that's where the waters can get muddied, especially for people who um have trouble separating themselves from
Yeah,
their character,
yeah,
But I think that that's an important. I think that that's part of etiquette. That's why you have those conversations.
right.
Exactly, because you don't want, as the DM, you don't want to do something like the players. I think need to understand if death is like a really like possible like thing to happen to the
Hmm.
characters. Like even something like that, something that is part of the D&D experience, needs to be handled in a way that your players will respond to fine. It doesn't even necessarily have to be something that they're comfortable with, because sometimes people like not, like experiences like that where it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
but I guess they would be comfortable with it if they like that kind of thing. But
Yeah. Well, and also everybody's at a different level with D&D. Um
yeah,
like every individual is at a different, and some people want to use it for comfortable experiences that are fun, and some people want to use it to explore things that do make them uncomfortable.
yeah,
But not everyone it's the same as any other form of media, right? Like any
yeah.
other medium. Some
Hmm.
people will read books about things that make them uncomfortable, and some people are not there yet or will never be there. That's not what they want.
Hmm.
Um, like maybe they watch movies for that, right? Maybe they just imagine it. Maybe
Hmm.
they play D&D for one reason, and they read books to fulfill another need, and then they watch movies to do another thing and play video games for another reason entirely. So that you have to look at that person as a whole and see kind of what their needs will be in that segment. Actually, that's a good point too, because like if they're already having all those needs fulfilled from, for instance, like the power fantasy stuff that you get a lot,
Mm-hmm.
that's easy to get from video games.
Yeah,
Super easy. Like you can be the toughest dude in the universe in a video game.
especially if you like throw it on easy mode, and
Right. Or well, some and
or
some just scale difficulty and stuff like that. So you
yeah.
you can do that kind of stuff pretty easily. It's not as easy in D&D to do that, and so
Hmm.
maybe that's why somebody's playing D&D, right? They want to build up something. They want to do, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so if you consider it like that, just ask each person. Well, I'm not saying you have to do this now. I'm saying in general, just kind of ask each person where they're coming from. Do some digging. Don't say, "Hey, what do you think is important to you?" Because that's not very, that's a little bit vague.
Yeah.
Really, I would say, what kind of books are you interested in? What kind of movies
Yeah.
Have you watched anything recently that you really liked? Have you read anything recently that you really have you played anything recently that you really liked? That's a good way to get people talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can say, hey, this campaign is going to be, it might be a little bit like this thing or this thing that you like, but it's actually also going to be a little different in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And here's how it's going to work, I think. And I'm saying I think because I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
That's one of the things about D&D.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's why I wanted to do a campaign that was like that, because that at the time and even now, that was the kind of thing that really evoked a lot of emotion in me, because all these things, all these artsy things like playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, they're all emotional,
Right.
like entirely.
Right.
It's not I mean, there's numbers and random chants and stuff like that in it, but it's meant to be a story the way it's most commonly played now. I read an article actually about the way that Gary Gygax originally ran Dungeons and Dragons and how it was.
Mm-hmm.
The original purpose of it was the dungeon master versus the players.
Right.
That was like the mindset. And he was like, I'm going to get them. I'm going to kill all my players.
It was an asymmetrical multiplayer game.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like this thing. And that's what they liked. That's what they wanted to do.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that's a bad way to do it, because it's not. It's a great way to do it if that's what you want.
It's still done that way.
And it is still done that way.
I would say you can definitely, well, maybe not right now, but if you go to gaming conventions when that's a thing again,
yeah,
you're going to find people who like to play it that way,
because
that's a whole thing, like that's a whole section, like that's a whole segment of the people. So yeah, I mean, definitely if that's what you like, do it.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, I don't know, I don't think that anybody in our group wants to play it like that necessarily. I don't want to play it like that, personally. I don't think of it as like me versus you guys.
No.
I want to help you. I want to help you guys tell a story,
right?
And like you said, I am building the world here, but we're all telling the story together. But the feelings, I'll put it out there just so that everybody knows. The feeling, like the kinds of feelings I'm trying to evoke, are the kinds of feelings that I got from playing games like The Last of Us or The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us Part 2 is very controversial, but I think that most people would agree that it evokes strong emotion. And I know you haven't played it, but I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
To anybody.
Don't give away anything.
No, I won't. I won't talk about it at all. I'm going to say I recommend it personally.
Let me try to think where I've got something like that. Oh, you know what? So that's not even something that I've really explored through any media, because I don't feel a need to.
What do you mean?
To be honest, that range of emotions.
Yeah, it's intense.
I don't need to explore them through media because I can just do it. Like I'm already there when I want to be. It's not something that, because there are some that just don't come naturally to me personally.
Yeah,
there are things that don't. That's not one of them. That's not one of them. So that makes it, something that like I'd watch a movie like 5 centimeters per second, which if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Bring some tissues, right?
Yeah,
like that was not a emotional range that came naturally to me until watching that movie, and now like I get it. Now I get what that is. I understand what that's all about. That increased my empathy. Playing The Last of Us probably wouldn't do the same thing for me because I already get it. Like I'm already there for a lot of the things in that. And I say that based on, seeing people play The Last of Us and you know, synopses and stuff like that. But I haven't played it myself, so maybe it is different when you play it yourself as well.
Yeah, I have played it. I played The Last of Us twice. Part 2 I played recently. It came out recently. Um, I'm trying to think of another piece of media that's done stuff like that. I think that I mentioned ReZero earlier.
Yeah.
I guess that wasn't on the show.
Nope.
But ReZero, I haven't gotten around to watching season 2, but I'm rewatching season 1 again. For those of you who've seen it, there's a scene where the protagonist, Subaru,
Raises spoilers.
yeah, like mid-season spoilers
Okay,
of
well,
season 1.
put on your what blocks out spoilers.
Uh, 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 couldn't think of a card joke.
Wait. No, I guess don't tell me, because maybe this is one that I need to see. I'm not sure.
ReZero?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it.
Don't tell you
What happens?
what happens?
Unless it's not important in that way.
It's not.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it gives away something, then maybe don't. But that's okay.
If it gives away something,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what happens. I don't know what that means.
Like, if there's some sort of mystery in the first half of the season that suddenly, like, in this moment, it's like, oh, that's not a mystery anymore.
It's more like a build-up.
Oh, okay.
And like, you're not sure. Basically, the protagonist, you're not sure of his like emotional maturity, and you're not sure. Basically, he meets this girl. And it's a
like basket.
It's an isekai, right?
Yeah.
So like he just is transported to another world, right? He's like a hikikomori or something,
Yeah.
you know, like that kind of thing. And he meets this girl, and he like helps her with some stuff, yada yada yada. He's spouting a lot of talk about how, you know, he's helping her because he like he's a good guy, you know, and he wants to do that, and like he wants to, you know, be this person. And then there's a moment mid-season. I don't think this is a spoiler, really. There's a moment mid-season where he just he lets the truth out in like a really explosive, emotional way, where it's revealed that he's one of those people that was really, he's like an incel. He's like one of those people who was really nice to her, and he did all of these things for her because he was expecting something out of it.
Yeah.
Like he wanted something from her.
Okay.
You know, like emotionally or something like that. Like he wanted,
kind of like basket.
Yeah, he wanted
like this.
He wanted her to be like indebted to him so that he could hold it over her. Right. You know, emotionally manipulative. You know, basically. And that's the kind of thing where, like, if my life had gone differently, I could see myself being that way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it really resonated with me. Like,
yeah,
wow, like seeing, like stepping back and looking at, and of course it's, you know, it's anime, so it's all like way overblown.
Right. But just being like, wow, I've felt that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, I know what it is to feel that. I've been just a step away from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I've been so close to that, and maybe I've even been edging toward it. Like, that's where I was headed. Thank God I saw this just now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It was like one of those things where I was like, man, just seeing how sad and pitiable that state is, and just like, oh no, absolutely not. Like, you wouldn't want to do that. But it's hard to watch because it, like, purposefully it's hard to watch. Like, it like, it's like uncomfortable, and yeah, I'd recommend watching it. And when you get to that point, you'll be like, oh boy, you know, oh boy.
At the same time, though, It's not always like you can't try to shove. Whoa.
Oh boy, basket. You okay? Come on.
You can't put everything in every campaign either.
No.
Like that just kind of won't work. And here's my canonical example of this.
Okay.
The Adam Sandler movie,
Mm-hmm.
Click.
Oh, that's a terrible movie.
All right, so when I was a
Yeah.
kid, I thought it was a fine movie
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
until
Okay.
it got to the end.
Okay.
The part, I made this discovery from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I don't like about comedy movies is when they get serious at the end.
Oh yeah. I
Right?
see what you mean.
I'll contrast it with another movie.
Mhm.
You don't need to watch Click. I'm gonna save you that.
Yeah, please.
We're gonna go into spoilers, but he like goes through his whole life
Mm-hmm.
in this movie.
Yeah.
He basically has the ability to like skip through time using a remote.
Mm-hmm.
So he does that. He like skips through most of his life, and then he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
Yeah.
But like right before he dies, he expresses all of his regret and his sadness for missing his life and missing out on the things that were important to him because he skipped right through those and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. However, though, that made the movie suck right at that point.
Mm-hmm.
To me as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was fine up until there. In some of his other movies,
Mm-hmm.
like Billy Madison is one that I have always liked. I haven't watched it recently, but I would assume I would still like it. Stays funny the whole time through,
Mm-hmm.
but his character does learn and change and grow,
Yeah.
and so there is like still an emotional resolution,
Yeah.
but it doesn't change in tone and become a preachy like sort of life lesson kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Right. And a movie like Step Brothers with Will Ferrell and that other guy who's funny,
Mm-hmm.
who's his stepbrother.
I can never remember his name either.
I do really think he's great though.
No, I do too. Yeah.
But like that kind of movie or Talladega Nights or some of those movies that they're in,
Yeah.
Are hilarious all the way up through the end because they basically think, all right, so our characters are about to have this emotional change. What is the most outrageous, funniest way we could do this?
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect because it matches the tone. If you put the ending of that movie on Click, that wouldn't work either. It doesn't match in the tone. So it'd have to be the right ending for that, thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when when you're adding on to the story of your D&D game, you have to like feel where the tone has been so far and see what it's headed toward. And then, and it could change over time. It's a lot longer of a format. It's actually more like Harry Potter, where the tone changed over time. However, it did make me not like Harry Potter.
What did?
The tone change? Yeah. The fifth book onward, I just didn't care about. I didn't like them. And part of it was me growing up.
I can see that, yeah.
But had they all happened in Hogwarts and we learned more and more about the school and their school life and stuff, I think I would have still been into it. It's just they took out the part that I liked.
Yeah.
As it got going, the thing that I was invested in was not Harry's battle against Voldemort. It was, or like the power of love or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was Hogwarts. Right? Like that's what I was invested in. And it was phased out of the books essentially.
Yeah. I mean,
movies.
It didn't really feature at all by the seventh book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Like that's what captured my imagination as a kid reading the first one. I was like,
absolutely.
I was waiting for my letter,
Right.
I was like, maybe I was 8 or 9 or something when I read that, or even possibly younger. So when I was like 10 or 11, I was like, hell yeah, this is it. This is my year. I'm ready for that.
You know what did that for me?
What?
Ruby. RWBY.
Okay, yeah.
Ruby. Because, and I can't remember his name, the creator of the show, unfortunately passed away.
Oh, Monty Ohm.
Yeah, Monty Ohm. Yeah, like very untimely. and I think he wrote the show up to a certain point,
Right.
like beyond when he passed. But there was a tone shift in that show too.
Mhm.
Like it was like a fun, like lighthearted, like quirky character type thing.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I've watched. I mean, I'm not caught up at all. I watched through like half of season 5, I think, and I kept falling off of it because the the episodes I think originally were like 15, 20 minute long episodes. They eventually like became like 40, 50 minute episodes that there were like long bouts of silence. Characters would stare longingly out like at the horizon. There was like real tragedy that happened in some
Yeah.
episodes. It just didn't feel,
And
yeah,
I
the
will
same.
say of Ruby,
Hmm.
some people say that it's just getting better and better and better.
Yeah, well,
So
and I can see that too. I actually would almost agree with that.
Mhm.
That it kept getting better.
maybe the quality in an artistic aspect of it is higher, but
Yeah.
it might not be what you're interested in.
I mean, by season 3, the background characters weren't just like shadow people, you know. So the quality of the show is getting better. They've got probably more and better writers. They're
Mhm.
probably coming into their own with that whole thing. But the reason why I fell off of watching it was because it wasn't the show that I started watching,
Right.
even if it was better. Because like I said, I would agree with that.
Okay, I'm gonna let her out of this room
Yeah, it's a good idea.
and see what she wants.
She's getting antsy.
It was definitely hit her on the head.
Poor,
She was like, "Ugh."
poor Basket
Yeah.
has a concussion now.
No, she's resilient. Anyway, I think is that good for that? I think we're there.
Well, okay, so
We're getting to it. We're getting there.
yeah, D, this is about D&D, but all of this discussion really is only important if storytelling is an important part of your D&D game.
Exactly.
Like if that's what you and your players want.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that's why you brought up the Gary Gygax vision of it.
Exactly, because that's the cool thing about it. You can make it either of those things.
Yeah.
You
You can make it a game. You can make it a story. You can make it you can make it a stage show.
Yeah.
Actually. I was trying to be a little ridiculous there. You could also make it a large iced coffee that's not iced. You can make it whatever you want as long as you don't want a medium iced latte.
Yeah. The moral of the story is that D&D is not.
It's not what you ordered.
It's not a medium iced vanilla latte.
Yeah, no. So sorry about that. Our latte machine's broken.
Wow. Now she's making more noise than ever.
That's Basket. Anyway, so here's the thing I want to talk about today as well.
Okay.
Which is the genius of Travis McElroy. All right. So we're about to give you a short little masterclass in engaging your players in D&D, okay? Because he does this so well. So well. You're going to have to listen to the Adventure Zone. In particular, I like the series Graduation. The Adventure Zone Graduation. I've listened to some of the other 2 series, Balance and Amnesty. Graduation's my favorite so far. I'll probably go back and listen to. I'll probably go back and listen to those ones at some point. All right, but right now I'm fully in on the Graduation. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna give away anything that happens in the series. I'm just gonna talk about how Travis handles things, like from a setup perspective here.
Okay.
Because it's impressive. It's really good. Travis is the DM. His name is Travis. He's our brother, actually. He's our middle brother. Like we have 3 brothers. He's the one in the middle. Anyway, so the way that he does this, it's something that I noticed him doing maybe every episode, which for them, an episode I think is a half session, and it's about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's about as long as our episodes, right?
Yeah.
Little under an hour and a half, but
Mhm.
you wouldn't say it's an hour. You know, so something like that. But what he's done is every time he's pulled on the story strings attached to the main characters, right? Just a little bit,
Mhm.
right? And enough to get them to feel like it's always in progress. There's always something going on with how this character's personal part of the story is going, along with there is some greater thing going on. There's a bigger world shaping, world changing event that's just about to happen. That's what it feels like based on the setup.
Mhm.
And like you'll get the feel for this all by the end of episode 2. You'll be like, oh, yes, I get all this. So this isn't like I'm spoiling anything here by saying that the world's going to be changing or whatever. No, you'll understand immediately what I'm getting at here. All right, if you check it out, and I encourage that, but I know you don't always have time. But so listen, the way that he does this is just so good, and let me describe it a little bit. We start off with whatever the 3 characters are doing, they have an objective, right?
Yeah. Every episode, yeah.
Yeah, so this doesn't give away too much. I just listened to Mission Impossible, which was a short part. It was one of their missions, like one of the things they had to do.
I've listened to that one too.
They had to cleanse a hospital of its imp infestation. And, well, all right. Can we give him some points for Mission Impossible? Because that's really good.
He came up with the name.
He came up with the name first.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's like that's really good. First of all, that sets the exact tone, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how it feels in this. Like it's like the movies you've seen. It's hilarious as well. But like it's also a mission. Like it's a real like they could get hurt. They do get hurt. I'll say that they do get hurt.
Yeah.
Well. But that kind of thing is just how it is. So there are some stakes, but at the same time, he's adding in little things like one person's character is doing things and they don't know why. That's Justin's character. I literally can't say the name of the character because because that would be a spoiler, sort of. The character doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
They give it names, but it doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
And then another character is, he is getting tangled up in something that he doesn't realize he's getting tangled up in, if that makes sense. And he might not even understand that there is a thing to be tangled up in, it seems.
Yeah.
But then like every episode, there'll be something that happens connected to it. Sometimes it's bigger, like what's that? Not a parent teacher meeting, but a parent teacher meeting without the parent and with the student instead. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he like meets with his teacher and whatever, and that's part of his individual story. But other times it's just like a small, like a character says something to him quickly, and it's just like a casual, hey, everything's looking good, and then he senses on that character that there's some enchantment magic. And ooh, what does that mean then? Right? Like, so there's that sort of thing going on too, big and small little character developments, leading them toward the conclusion of their eventual story. Which I don't know what it is yet. Actually, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But I have a feeling that, like, I'm looking at the setups for the 3 characters, the 3 player characters. Something tells me that they're going to come into conflict. Doesn't it seem that way?
Yeah, with each other.
With each other.
Does it seem that way?
So I'll tell you why I'm thinking that without spoiling anything too much.
Yeah, why would you say that?
Well, if you look at the visions that Justin's character is seeing,
Mm-hmm.
and you look at who is present in those visions, which prominent figure is present, you'll notice that prominent figure is good at enchantments, right? And possibly has something to do with the weird goings on around a certain other character, another player character. This one operated by Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third player character has met with some other prominent non-player characters who seem to be, I'm going to call them loose cannons. They're not really loose cannons. They're more like, I'll say they're world shapers in a way. They're deciders, when there's something to be done, they decide and they do it.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that they are where they are because they know a little bit more than we do. And they're going to be doing something about what is going on with the other characters. And so I think that's going to bring the 3 player characters into conflict. I think it's also going to be hilarious when that happens, because Travis is a master at that. Somehow he's just really good at it, guys. He's super good at it. But you can also see that, like, the whole thing progresses independently of the player's own things going. Now, is that my dog barking? No. Okay, that one's outside. My dog doesn't bark very much. That would have been pretty surprising. Now, how do you do this, though? How do you do this? Here's what I think you do as a DM. You could tell me what you think you do.
Okay.
But I think it's like this. You have to know what that character wants or is missing, and they don't know that it's missing. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Or like how they came to be them. Right. Then you tie it into something that is involved with the main story, any kind of character that's involved with it. Which, like you did, because you brought everybody's interests together into one character who said, I got you all. I have what you want.
Oh, yeah, but don't worry. I mean, everybody's going to get their own thing, too.
I mean, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. But then I think the thing that I like that Travis does so well is that he, like, right away, he wasn't shy about it. He was never like, did you want to talk about, like, your backstory or anything like that? Like, your, this. He was just like, a character came up and was like, I know your mother. That was not the voice. Don't worry, I didn't give away anything. But, like, oh, whoa, this is like backstory. And it just happens in front of all the other characters. Well, not in front of their characters, in front of the other people, right? Like, or at least as far as I can tell, it is audio only. Maybe he does separate calls with certain people or just talks with them separately.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most of the first few episodes were done in person anyway. So I don't think that's what they did. I think they were just all there for those little things. Now, for a campaign like Cataclysmic Rift, we can talk about that. Because what's that? Oh,
what's Cataclysmic Rift?
That's the one that you run. That's what I call it, Cataclysmic Rift.
Oh, right. Got it. I know a little bit about that one. Yeah.
Right. So that one, that one's got, I don't know, 80,000 player characters roughly. Yeah. And I've already made 2 more.
That's
as backups.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that there's a lot of players? Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, not as an excuse, but
so the tugs on what I think is that the tugs on the players' story strings have to be little baby tugs. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I've started.
It's got to be like little tiny thing, but it's got to happen in a like Liam does his thing. Mm-hmm. He does. He'll just do it. He's doing business deals and stuff on the side. He's making it happen. Yeah, it's that kind of deal, right? Like he just, that's what he does. but at the same time, it would be good for the other people in the party to see some of what he's doing, I think, right? Like for them to be like a courier comes up and delivers him in like a sack full of cash, and he's like, "Oh, perfect." And they're like, "Why did that happen?" Like, who knew? First of all, who knew that you would be here, and why did they bring you this gold?
Yeah, don't give that away, man.
Right.
That's gonna happen.
Well, it's he's rerouting stuff right now. He's reinvesting and stuff. But
yeah, that's what I mean.
We're on our way to that kind of thing.
Yeah, they just don't know where you are.
Well, that's the thing, though. I want to give it away.
Yeah,
like I think that would be a good thing, for the other players to know about. Not necessarily their characters. Their characters can know or not. That can be part of it. But I want the other players to understand what he's doing a little bit, because it's going to kind of make them wonder how they should interact with him and things like that. It's basically it enriches their interactions with the world a little bit, to know that like all these things are going on, and like these because like I don't usually know what's going on in Kinzoku's head, for instance. And I get where his backstory is kind of headed, maybe. I mean, there are a lot of places it could be headed. But I get where it's kind of headed, and there's going to be some discovery and things like that there. But I don't know like what he's doing toward it, if that makes sense. Like I don't know if I like when I make a decision, I would like to know if I'm getting closer to his resolution, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that Liam would want or not want. But I want to be able to make a decision about it and not just stumble into it, if that makes sense.
I think I see where you're headed. Are you saying that you want the players' backstories to become more apparent?
Or what do I want?
Their goals to become more apparent? Because I'm way ahead of you. Like that's why last session.
Oh yeah, I'm sure though, because like that's going to be part of it.
Yeah. Well, because I felt like that was like everybody was being really tight-lipped about everything. Like as soon as anything about a backstory came up, their character would be like, I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
And I was like, well, there's got to be like you did all this work. If you feel like, and everybody's like, oh, well, my character wouldn't talk about it. And it's like, okay, well, if you feel that way, that means it's my responsibility.
Well,
to do something about
there we go. We're getting another lesson from Travis. So the way that he would extract these bits of information is he would throw an NPC at that character.
Yes. In
a scene separate, but still with the other people present, with the players present, but not their characters.
Yeah.
Where your character could be open and frank, right? Like they could speak plainly and clearly about their goals and ambitions.
Yeah. Well,
because of the NPC that is brought in front of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did that to a certain extent with Ember and Saren.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Session, yeah.
Yep.
That was the purpose of that.
Yeah.
Was to
and
mix that up a little bit.
Yeah, and nobody else like heard what they were saying, which is cool.
But I wanted the players to hear it.
Right.
And I felt like it was okay.
Perfect.
The characters didn't need to hear it, but the players did.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Just those little tugs, like, oh hey, aren't you a little unusual? Like that's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we need to have a lot of.
Exactly. Man.
Well, because it happens. It happened with Summit a few times, of course.
Yeah.
She's a Tabaxi, and she's from a place where. I think she's from a rich and powerful family or something, it seems. Because when people hear her name, they're like, oh, you sound like a fancy person. I don't know who you are, because she's like 15. But she sounds like a fancy, rich, important person, and she seems like it. So I should treat her in a certain way. Like, that's the response she gets. And that's good. that's like really good. Like, because then other characters see that, or even just other players see that, and we're like, huh, how do we use that? What do we do with this?
Mm-hmm.
Now that we know this, like, what do we do differently with this part? Like, that doesn't match up with how they act. Why is it like that? That gives us a good frame of reference to figure out like what this character is and stuff like that. So that's really good. And actually, some of Kinzoku's stuff, his development happened while he was not present.
Yeah,
or he wasn't conscious, at least. Physically, he was present. He may have not been in his body. I don't remember how that worked for him, but yeah, like that kind of thing is good too. Yeah, basically, it's really good to throw a bunch of like information about the player characters at all the players, so they know what, because like otherwise you're playing with complete strangers and you don't know what they can do or anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we touched on that I think a lot last time on the podcast about how the players, again it's also because I think there's a 50-50 split of the responsibility too, because when a player is like, yeah, but my character wouldn't do that, I always think like, well, it's kind of your responsibility to figure out not that your character wouldn't do that, but why your character would do that. With certain things. Like, I don't know. It's like, everybody has a goal, like you said, and that's sort of like that's like the big thing that's keeping you guys all together, is that you guys all want something, and
right.
and doing, and you have a reason to believe that doing these things would get you the thing that you want. Right. I just find it interesting that a lot of the players aren't finding that a compelling enough motivation for their character to take action. You know what I mean? In a lot of cases. Do you have any insight on that? Like, what?
I can roll, but my wisdom's like -4.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Your insight, like Liam's insight?
Oh no, I meant my personal.
Oh, your personal insight.
Yeah, I was just goofing, but
goofing and gaffing.
Yeah.
Well, I rolled a 1, so that's a -3.
Yeah. No. Well, so I guess part of what it is seeing them as a character, as opposed to a game piece. Maybe is a good way to describe it. Like,
okay,
like in a way, maybe playing the game, the point is to win. But playing the character, the point is to make them happy.
Well,
if that's what they want, I guess it's to get them what they want.
Yeah, it's to achieve their goals.
Right. Yeah.
I think. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess achieving goals doesn't necessarily make you happy.
No, not necessarily. In fact, sometimes achieving your goals is
once you slay the dragon.
Like,
what next?
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Really popular on Netflix right now is a show, The Queen's Gambit, which is about chess.
Oh, it's about chess, yeah.
Yeah. I watched that whole show, and that's kind of the thought I had about that show. It's about a girl who really likes playing chess, and she gets really good at it.
Yep.
And she's like, I want to beat the Russian guy because the Russian guy's the best.
Right.
And ooh,
I saw the end of the show.
Spoilers?
By the way, just the last 5 minutes of it. That's all I've seen.
Okay. Well, I guess spoilers.
So I know what happens here.
Yeah.
Don't give it away. But
okay.
But does it matter? Like, does what matter? Or does what happens in the last 5 minutes matter? I think what we see is that she achieves goals along the way. Yeah. But what makes her happy is not achieving those goals, but playing chess.
Yes. Okay. Good. Yeah. That's what
All right.
that's where I was.
I
Going
think
with that
that's what we see
Yeah.
throughout the whole. Based on what I got from the last 5 minutes of the show, I can tell that that's how the whole thing went.
Mm-hmm.
All of the joy in her life came from facing the challenges and not overcoming them. Right? Like it all happened on the board. It all happened as she pushed through and, made waves in the chess world. Was she was that a historical account? Was that a real person? I forget.
I have absolutely no idea.
Because I was going to ask if she
clue.
was the first female grandmaster, but I don't think she was, because I think that was one of the three sisters who are mentioned in my favorite book, Ultra Learning, by Scott H. Young, whose names I can't remember because they're Hungarian.
I
but I will. Maybe we'll put them in the show notes or something.
I really don't know. It was almost like a Cold War era, America's awesome kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it was America and Russia.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's that story about like part of it is like that cold calculating like computer versus human deal.
Yeah.
But like the Russians are the computers in this case.
Yeah, basically.
Because that's how it's framed a lot in media from the U.S.
Yeah.
But also it's cold in Russia, so I get it.
Yeah. It's cold here.
It's cold here, like specifically here.
Yeah, right now.
And guess what?
What?
It would work if it was somebody from here competing against somebody from Texas. Like, I'm just saying.
Because they're all hot.
It's really warm there.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is,
yes.
It's still an interesting story. It's actually potentially even more of an interesting story to me. Maybe not satisfying, but interesting for somebody to achieve their goal, and then the story just keeps going a little bit longer to show you. Now what?
That's all right. Not to give away the end of Beowulf, but if you haven't read it, it's been around for a couple of years.
Yeah, a little while.
So Beowulf fights Grendel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tears his arms off.
Mm-hmm.
His arms are the dangerous part. So Beowulf tearing off the dangerous part of the dangerous monster.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And I think they describe it as the sound of it being pretty loud. Like almost exactly. I forget who wrote Beowulf or whatever, but it's like loud. One of their primary devices is understatement, and it's so good when they do it. It is hilarious. Because it just really is. So read Beowulf, but he fights Grendel. He fights Grendel's mother, who it turns out he may have like done something with her in a dream, and that's why Grendel existed. So he's like fighting the root of the evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he's like fought the fiercest monster a human can fight. He's fought temptation of mortal like flesh. Right? And now he's going to go, like, when he's older, he goes and fights a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
He's past his prime. He is no longer the Beowulf who tore off Grendel's arms. He is an old man.
Mm-hmm.
He does slay the dragon, but in doing so, he loses his life. He dies. Right? Mm-hmm. He's poisoned by the dragon and dies. He collapses on it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he definitely, I think he died doing what he liked doing.
Yeah.
So in a way,
it's
a fitting end. They actually talk about his funeral in the book too, and how his things were all piled up and sent on the boat with him and lit on fire, because that's how they did it.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. They talk about how extravagant his funeral was, but they also express his sadness at the end of his life, feeling like he is alone and he's borne too much burden on himself, and he should have done things differently.
Like relied on other people more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like the way that it ends is, it's not a happy ending. But he is Beowulf, who overcomes all challenges at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there are a lot of so that's the interesting thing about story is that I I like the idea of subversion, like taking something that is um uh like a normal story and flipping it on its head a
Hmm.
bit, but not just for the sake of subversion.
Right.
Like I like subversion that has meaning behind it.
Hmm.
Like there's a reason it's like that. So, stories like that really I think are cool. That's why I like ReZero.
Well, I was gonna say, if you look at isekai
Yeah.
as a genre,
Hmm.
but then you compare it to One Punch Man,
Yeah.
right? Like One Punch, like in isekai, a lot of the time, there are ones out there, and I don't really watch any of them. So I don't know which ones, but there are ones out there where the whole thing is just, oh, it's Goofy and he's so strong and he gets all the girls and like this is just this show.
Yeah, like a power
Um,
fantasy. Yeah.
right. There are
Exactly.
ones like that. He was a loser, but now he's in the video game and now he's the strongest.
Sword Art
And he gets
Online.
everything he wants.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But then you compare that to One Punch Man, where he is the strongest, he is as good as you can possibly be, and then his life is like not even average,
Yeah, yeah. It's
not
like
even as good as an average
it's
person's
like
life.
kind of boring.
He's way more bored than an average person.
Yeah.
He's almost dead inside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? Like so, if you look at that, like that has a lot more of what I think you're saying is the meaning behind it, right?
Right, right, exactly. And in ReZero's case, it's a similar thing where it's an isekai where he's like brought into this other world,
Hmm.
but he is basically entirely powerless
Hmm.
and uh and like really wants to have that like isekai adventure that he has like
Dreamed about,
yeah,
right?
dreamed about.
Like he's the person who watches these shows.
Exactly. And he's like trying to get this power fantasy experience and he's like learning that life isn't like that, even in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
you know? It's cool. It's a cool sort of message. Um what was there was a show a while back that was like the subverting expectations show, you know? Like was it Game of Thrones? Maybe it was Game of Thrones.
I think you're talking about Bobo 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 Bo.
No, but I know what that is. But
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
talking about bo.
Okay. Okay.
Fist of the Nose Hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Game
Uh,
of Thrones kind of did that.
was that the
I
whole
mean,
thing?
with the whole like main characters could die at any moment.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff that you wouldn't have expected to see on TV at the time.
and I think that the reason why it worked, I know you haven't seen it, but the
No.
reason why it worked is because whenever a character died,
Hmm.
it was because they did something stupid
Right.
and they should have died.
Yeah.
But in other stories they wouldn't have.
Right.
Like the first like main character to die
Hmm.
died because he wanted to uphold his honor and do the right thing.
Hmm.
But he like blatantly went against something that somebody with more power and influence than him wanted.
Hmm.
So he died,
Yep.
like and he didn't achieve any of the things he wanted to achieve because they shut him down at every turn,
Right.
right? Um but also his death wasn't like rendered meaningless or anything like that.
No. No, it
So,
wouldn't.
so it's a story and yet it also isn't one of those things where it's just like if you do the right thing things will work out for you,
Right.
you know? And that's I think that's what drew me to Game of Thrones.
Right.
Definitely not the incest. Definitely the story stuff.
Yeah. Uh,
That,
yep.
well, that's the thing because I've talked to some of my friends about it, and they're
Hmm.
and I'm like, it's a really good show, and they're just like, I don't know, man. Like episode 1 with the incest, I don't know if I can watch a show like that. The thing is, though, that later on, it doesn't really feature very prominently. Well, it's like an important plot thing, but it's
Mhm.
not like it's not like that's what the show's about.
Yeah. Maybe you just get used to it.
Well, I don't know if I really want to get used to that. That's an unfortunate plot of some anime too. It's weird. And in most anime that I've seen like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's not important. Well, in some of them, it is the story, which that's not interesting at all. But
No.
um,
All right, here she comes again.
basket
What are you gonna do?
coming up here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Somebody's so needy today.
Yeah, seriously. Oh wow. Yeah, she's like really laying on me now. She's just so needy is a really good word.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure out what's going on with Basket in a second here. Maybe she's got to go to the bathroom or something. But I don't think that's it because she was literally just out there before you got here.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that long ago at all.
No, it wasn't. But that's it. That's all I got for today.
Yeah. How are we looking on time? Is it
No, we're good.
about right?
Yeah, we can go.
Cool.
Basket, would you please give our fine folks at home some words to live by? Basket, hey Basket. What do we say to our beloved guests? Huh? What do we tell them? That's right. Silence. That is what we are about to tell you.
Nothing.